Number two is, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. If I had a dime for every time I've said this, deal in facts and stop the rumors and speculation in their tracks. Just deal in the facts and stop the rumors and speculation in their tracks. Just so we're crystal clear, I get that people are going to social media for their information now. I totally understand that, right? There's phones, we all have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have, I don't know if anyone gets information from Snapchat, maybe, filter, doctor with a filter or something, I don't know. But hopefully that's not your main area. But regardless, and a lot of the people that are posting things online are very well meaning, right? So they're talking about what's happening in other parts of the country. They're talking about, you know, the latest study or the latest opinion on how we decontaminate, or do we self-isolate? What does that look like? And I totally understand that people are well-meaning when they're sharing that information. And it can come from medical doctors. Totally get it. And it can come from emergency managers. It can come from all sorts of places. And we think that we're educating everybody, and we are. But as a leader, it's really, 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 really important that you stop the rumors and end the speculation. So how do you actually do that? Well, lay it out in every single meeting that you have. Is you absolutely have to walk the walk, and you stomp on the rumors. You stomp on the speculation. Deal with the moment, deal with the facts. Now, as human beings, our default setting is actually to be negative, right? It's to think worst case scenario, which makes complete sense, because from a survival perspective, when my cavemen and women ancestors, when they emerged from the cave, I needed them to be pessimistic. I needed them to be scared poopless and think that everything was going to kill them, and that survival was really, really important. And I appreciate that. Unfortunately, that default setting has stayed with us all this time. And so the same reaction that we have when we leave the cave and we don't know something, we're going to think worst case scenario back then, and we're going to do exactly the same now. So that's our default setting. It's part of our DNA. And so we have to recognize that people will just naturally see the worst case scenario in something. Also, when it comes time to just dealing in the facts and stopping rumors and the speculation in its tracks, walk the walk yourself, right? Don't engage in that. And I get that you're hanging out by the water cooler, or, you know, somebody wanders into your office and says, hey, Daryl, like, what do you think about all this stuff? Hey, did you hear this? Did you hear that? Or I read about this. You know, and it's so easy for us to just kind of fall into that where, yeah, man, that's really bad. They've done this. They're talking about doing that. Or I've heard about this statistic. It's really easy for us to fall into that trap. But as a leader, your job is to actually be the example, be the good example for what right looks like. And when you talk about stop the speculation, stop the rumors, and deal in facts, that means you as a leader, you have to walk that walk and don't fall into the trap of speculation and rumor yourself. And as a leader, further to that, you have to establish what we call branded sources of information. Now, just to be crystal clear, I'm not saying that the MD that posted, you know, onto Facebook that's gone viral, no pun intended, I'm not saying that that's not legit or that they're incorrect. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that the nurse that's working in the hospital in the front lines is BSing. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is find your source of truth or sources of truth, your branded information, and let that be your anchor in terms of deciding what's a rumor, what's speculation, what's fact. So the main ones come to mind, you know, World Health Organization, for example, in the case of COVID, your local or provincial or state healthcare department, for example. Those are what I would deem pretty credible, branded sources of information. And so if you can go to those trusted sources, and you just decide that those are the ones that you will be using as guidance, stick with it, because you will be tempted to fall into that trap. Like I said, you're a human being, just like I am, just like everyone you're supporting. But don't do that. Just deal with the facts, and realize that also too, information is neither good or bad, right? And I'll say that again, information is really not either good or bad. It just is. And so what makes it good or bad is the meaning that we attach to it. It's the interpretation that we attach to it. So as a leader, when a new piece of information comes in from a branded source, it's neither good or bad. It's not catastrophic or completely we're out of the woods. It just is. And it requires some sort of action. So all information needs to be treated neutrally and do not be swayed, on this pendulum of emotion, because people are looking to you to be that steadfast entity, that steadfast person, that go-to person, that when times are tough, people are looking for an anchor. People are looking for that beacon or that steadiness, that that stalwart kind of presence. They need that in times of crisis. And if you are now just, you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. That's terrible news. That's everyone. It's terrible news. That's not what's going to provide psychological safety for your folks. Also, too, it's going to stress you out like crazy. So get in the habit that information is neither good nor bad. It's neutral. And remember that the good or bad is actually the emotion or the interpretation that we assign to it, or the meaning we assign to it. And a saying that I often use, and I use this, when I'm talking about this example where I walked into the emergency operations center, and it's chaos. By any definition, it is absolutely a gong show. And so as I said, one of the first things I do is, take stock of my own personal emotions. I take stock of what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what I'm giving off. Really, really important. Like I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to be nervous. I don't want to be agitated. I want to recognize that information just is. It's neither good or bad. And so something that one of my kind of standard opening spiels, if you will, is that I use the analogy of a ship and the ocean. And what I say, I'll paraphrase a little bit, is that the ship isn't actually, the ocean is not what sinks the ship. Okay, I'll say that again. The ocean isn't what sinks the ship. What sinks the ship is actually water getting into it. So there's a breach in the hull, or the water's starting to overflow, or the ship doesn't have a rudder, or it's not well equipped, whatever that is. So for me, the team is all about maintaining the integrity of the team, maintaining our communication amongst each other. And if you try not to make it an us versus them on the outside, but your job is to maintain the integrity of your team, make sure that your ship is intact, making sure that everyone on that ship is taken care of. And as a result, the better that is in place, it doesn't matter what the ocean's doing. It can be, a hurricane out there. But if you have a very solid ship, it's well equipped, you're a good captain, you have good crew, you're communicating, you're adjusting, all of those other things, it doesn't matter. The ocean could be absolutely chaotic on the outside, but your ship or your team is still intact. So remember that analogy. Keep that hull integrity in place.